Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 48th episode of the Spiritual Brainstorm. In this episode, I'll be discussing something very, very specific, and which is linked to the previous episode based on that it was dealing with choice. And this is called the Poietic generator. And it's a concept that was developed by a friend of mine that is a writer and specialized in networks research in networks. In a book that's called Anopticon, and it's only in French, I think, for the moment, but you can Google it. And the guy's name is Olivier Aubert, and the concept poietic generator. And so this concept is based on an idea, and that is, imagine if you have, say, a crowd of 100 people that are standing in a public square, and each and every one of them has above their head a little tablet which they can change the color. Like, they can change it to whatever color they want. Some can change it to green, others to blue. They can change the color of their tablet as they wish. It's totally up to them. And at the same time, they have a little screen that shows them, there's like a little camera here filming everything from above, and it gives them a feedback of what the global picture looks like. And each of them is absolutely free to change the color of their pixel to display whatever they want. And what's kind of magical is that even without any kind of discussion or conversation or interaction, there can spontaneously emerge a sort of a picture out of the seemingly uncoordinated change in colors. So, as soon as one person starts to notice a pattern, they can shift the color of their pixel to reflect whatever pattern they think they're seeing. And it's the same as basically this game that some people play at looking at clouds and seeing certain shapes in the clouds. Um, and it's just like, it's not really there, but your mind makes you believe that it's there. And with this kind of experiment, though, you can change, because you can change the color of your pixel, and you can affect that sort of hallucination and create something global, something coherent at a global level. And I'll show you the website. So this is sort of a GIF animation of what it looks like when you have hundreds of people playing the game, and each person controls one pixel, and so there's this, like, a face emerging and a boat on the sea that is moving, and that is the result of the decisions of hundreds of people playing it at the same time in an almost non-coordinated way. And the reason I'm talking about this experiment is that it actually reminds me, it's actually, to me, it's a very good approximation as to how our reality functions. And it's as if each and every person is 100% autonomous, has 100% free will, 100% autonomy on the color, the pixel they want to choose, or what action they want to take. And then it's their beliefs which restricts what they're going to display as a color, a pixel color. So just imagine that the end result of this image, that is sort of being fed back, is our reality, materialist science. So our reality, basically, imagine that our reality is just, it's functioning just in that way. Like every single person votes on what they think the reality looks like, and what their role or their color in that reality, what how they fit in that global picture, and then they're fed back via this feedback loop the end result, which is the observed reality. So right now, as you're looking at this video, you as a human being, for instance, you're changing your internal state, who you are, basically, who you think you are, and what you are going to do, and what you think about reality. And that thought then goes into sort of filmed by a camera, and you then get the feedback of that via your five senses. And there's this feedback loop basically between what you do, and then and then there's of course there's the link between other people. So you're not alone in this reality. There's a sort of a bridge between people where when you're close to somebody else, you're sort of kind of almost like merging with their reality to a certain extent, because of course when two pixels are close to each other, then there's this tendency to exchange information or to influence each other mutually. Like for instance, if this one is thinks that he's a pixel of a boat swimming on the ocean, and this one is a chaotic pixel that just displays random colors, then there's going to be tremendous pressure for this person to sort of adapt the pixel so that it forms something coherent. And the problem of our society, at least that's my analysis, is that once you become sort of hypnotized by what the poietic generator is feeding you, and you think that's reality, then you're really restricting your freedom to control the color of your pixel. So imagine that we've co-created this entire reality, 3 dimensions, as we're just bundles of consciousness basically here. Consciousness. Ooh, hope that's how you spell it. Anyways, I'm terrible with spelling. So we're all bundles of energy, conscious energy, and we decided to create a reality together based on certain rules, which I believe are the ones of the poietic generator, but then give ourselves the illusion that we are not 100% free in our actions, and that it's actually what the poietic generator is feeding back to us that is the reality, and not taking back our sort of our power in deciding what we want to do, what we want to what color we want to um, be. Because of course, if you're too hypnotized by what the poietic generator is feeding you, then you're just going to conform to what that sort of image of reality that you think is the reality is feeding back to you on this little screen here or via the five senses. So most people believe that we're in a materialist kind of universe that is stupid and does things automatically like a robot. And of course, because we believe that, then our sort of the range of possibilities or colors that you can display on your little screen there, which contributes to creating the global reality we experiment, is very narrow. It's like instead of 100%, you have like 10% or even less in terms of leeway, in terms of freedom. Now, what's really interesting is so ultimately, the real reality is that we're all 100% autonomous and free to do whatever we want in a way, and we cannot affect anybody else. And the only reason that we do is because they believe we can. Like in this game, what's really magical about playing this game, and I encourage you to go and experiment if you want. This is the website. If you type Poietic generator, you'll find it. But when playing this game, apparently it has a very good psychological effect because it makes you feel what a reality where everybody is fully ascended looks like. It is one where you are 100% conscious that you have that nobody can steal your free will. Nobody can force you into anything, into doing anything, and yet you will then take pleasure in changing the color of your pixel to display something coherent at the global level. And my friend told me about this one anecdote where there was this one guy that was playing the game, and he wasn't like too much into it, so he just decided to leave his pixel black. And then, like all the other participants, seeing that there was this one black pixel in the middle that wasn't moving, they just built something around it. They just started building, motifs and stuff that looked like a face. And so even when you're not participating, you're actually participating, and like the others will naturally adapt to whatever you're doing. And it doesn't have to be this zero sum game, like where somebody has to lose and somebody has to win. Here it is a like really taking pleasure in co-creating something together, because you know that you're 100% free. You have 100% freedom. And once you know you're 100% free and that nobody can actually affect you, then you really start co creating in a conscious way and in a way which is pleasurable. Because until you're in the illusion that the outside or other people can actually affect you and dictate what color you're supposed to display, or whether you're supposed to be this or that, whether you're supposed to be, whether what studies you're supposed to do, what clothes you're supposed to wear, how you're supposed to behave in society. All these things are constructs that ultimately you let go, but you don't let them go in the sense that you destroy them. You use them as inspiration for your co-creation. And that's a really important point here, because I was thinking, imagine that the universe is just these poietic generators nested one inside the other, where basically you have photons playing this game of being poietic generators and generating things. And then the result of their poietic generator, after a while, after they create like nonsensical things, is to create subparticles. And then the subparticles also play this poietic generator, and they all sort of choose the state that they're in, and they do things chaotically and all that stuff. And then ultimately, when they're done fully like understanding the whole game and deciding to play it, they create atoms and so forth. So imagine that these are all just like consciousnesses nested one inside the other. And the emergence of a new consciousness happens when all the elements inside one level sort of become aware of this mechanism and decide to consciously co create things. And that gives birth to a new consciousness that plays another round of this poetic generator yet again. But what's interesting is, imagine if you have like these photons here in the universe, that could take on any color or any property, um, why would they choose? And they have the same mechanism. They then get a feedback. Why would they choose to display one thing and not another? Where's the inspiration come from? This inspiration, and I think inspiration can only come from the illusion of being able to affect another photon. And maybe that's the big bang. That's the start of the experience. It's when the universe gives itself the illusion that it is not free and that it is not able to do whatever the hell it wants, and therefore it transitions from infinity, or a state where any state is the good one, because there's no criteria for assessing why you should display one color and not another, why you should be in one state and not another, into something finite, from the absolute to the relative. And so it is the fact of experiencing, for instance, duality and the illusion that another person can actually affect the color that you're displaying on your little screen, um, and forfeiting that freedom that you have, that 100% freedom, and playing this game of somebody dominating, somebody being submissive, somebody being a victim, somebody being a perpetrator. It is that illusion that gives you then the inspiration through the experience of duality to actually play the game of co-creating a reality in a fun and conscious way. Because otherwise, if you are already in that state of 100% freedom to do whatever the hell you want, then why you wouldn't even have a definition for meaning, for instance. Why something, well, why, for instance, creating a reality which is sort of heaven on earth, like where every human interacts in harmony with everybody else, you wouldn't even know why that would be preferable to one where we all destroy ourselves in an apocalyptic end of the world scenario. Because, for instance, to photons, that end of the world scenario is just a bunch of colors. It's just a sort of a game of light, like watching a movie. Why would you prefer a movie with a happy ending than one with a bad ending? And you only know that because you've experienced duality and you've experienced this illusion that you actually are not free and you don't have 100% freedom to choose what color you want to display on your little screen. So, of course, it's best to play this game with many people, like 10 or 20. And I think basically this is yet another way of explaining how our reality works. And you can see that all roads lead to Rome. Basically, all ideas sort of converge now, whether they are from, because he's not really into spirituality that much. He's not a staunch defender of materialism, but still, that idea that he had is really, really a genius idea. This mechanism, and he calls basically what emerges from that as the a network being, something like that. The network being. So it's it's as if each and every one of us, our consciousness, our brain, is just one neuron in the brain of something infinitely bigger than we are, and that it has a sort of a life of its own, just like the images in the poietic generator are the joint result of the individual decisions of each human, but it forms something coherent as a whole, which cannot be explained by just examining each part separately, each little pixel separately. So all different ways of explaining the same thing, what is happening to us right now. So I hope you found this interesting. I really invite you to check it out and talk to you in the next video.